Yes, thanks for joining me once again as we continue with episode 3, which is the last and final piece of footage featuring the remaining highlights from the 2024 Helsington Wulfsport Taylor Trophy Scramble that was held at the historic Helsington racetrack near Kendal. So we're going to continue now with race 19, and this is the final race for the vintage bikes. So this is the combined pre-60s, 65s, 68s and the pre-1974 classes up to and over 250cc. But of course all of these bikes will be sorted out into their own individual classes as they cross the finish line due to those very high-tech transponders that are fitted to each and every machine. So we still have another good lineup of vintage bikes for this class. We're just waiting on the starter, making sure that all the bikes are in position and good to go. We're just looking towards the actual lap scorers to make sure that they're also ready to go, but everything looks good at this stage. So the 10-second or 15-second board is up, shortly to become 5 as they leave the line. That's another good start there by number 264, Chris Chell on the Shenny BSA. Listenbell has also made a good start there, number 98 on his big Jawa 4-stroker bike. So as the riders make their way down from the top part of the track to begin lap 1, it is indeed Chris Chell, your race leader from number 98 at Liston Bell. Andy Hinchcliffe's also made a good start there, currently in 4th position. Number 118 just going through there is Kenny Harper on the Czechoslovakian CZ. But these two have already had a few good scraps this afternoon, because I think Chris Chell's already won the previous 2 races. Liston Bell did well in race 2, but unfortunately seemed to disappear from the lap scoring chart, so I don't know what happened to Liston's bike at that time, but he's now taken the lead. So it's Liston Bell, your race leader, from Chris Chell in 2nd, and this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe, in 3rd position. So it's Liston Bell on the big Jawa 4-stroker who leads Chris Chell's Shenny BSA. Andy Hinchcliffe is in 3rd. We're just trying to pick up who's currently in 4th spot. And I think that could be number 873 just going through there. That's Nathan Jones on the Twinshock Husqvarna bike. So as our race leaders begin lap 2, it's still number 98, Liston Bell, your race leader, as we take a look at number 41 there. That's John Sinnott on his CZ 250. That's a bike that we had a look at in the paddock in one of our previous videos. John's CZ doesn't look as shiny as it did when it was in the paddock, but John's still circulating at a good rate of knots. But it looks like that Chris Chell has now retained that pole position, so it's Chris Chell, your race leader, number 264. Liston Bell is currently now in 2nd position. Andy Hinchcliffe is keeping a watching brief there in 3rd position, but this is a good scrap here between the 4-stroke bikes of Liston Bell and Chris Chell, and it's hard to see who's going to take the lead of this race, but it's still Liston who has the advantage as they head up the hill to begin another racing lap. So it's the man from Scotland, number 98 at Liston Bell on the big Batiste 4-stroke Jawa. I think that's a 540cc bike that Liston's riding there. I think it's a 1964 chassis. So these bikes, of course, don't enjoy the amount of suspension travel that some of the other Twinshock bikes have. So they're kind of limited in their suspension travel. As we take a look at number 125, that's Ian Stainton. Looks like Ian's stalled the Clues Stroker and struggling a bit to get it to fire up again, but this has been a good ride here thus far from Liston Bell. That big single cylinder Jawa 4-stroke engine sitting inside that Matisse chassis. So quite a nice combination, and Liston certainly making best use of both the chassis and that 4-stroke motor, because he's still in the lead of this race. Andy Hinchcliffe looks like he's moved up into second position. Chris Chell currently down to third, but of course these three riders could be riding in different classes, but we're taking another look at number 873. That's Nathan Jones on what I think is a 400 cross Husqvarna. So we're just looking to the far side of the track to pick up our race leader. It's still number 98, Liston Bell. Just behind Liston there is number 41, that's John Sinnott, but of course he's not in second position. It's this man here at number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe, on the Twinport 2-stroke CZ bike. But again, Andy's had quite a good afternoon here at Helsington, because he did have that coming together with Chris Winder in the very first race earlier on in the afternoon, when Chris unfortunately suffered a shoulder injury because of that shunt, but Andy appears to have come out of that accident unscathed, so he's been able to take part in the rest of the afternoon's proceedings. So we're back with the man in pole position, number 98, Liston Bell. So Liston appears to still be going very well here. Andy Hinchcliffe just going through there in second place. Chris Chell on that beautiful Shenny BSA, Simon Shenny built frame with that beautiful BSA 50 engine in the chassis. But this is a good performance here for the man from Scotland, Liston Bell, who normally races against his younger brother, but Lewis at this time is still recovering from a shoulder injury he received at Drumlanrig Castle almost 2 years ago. So Liston's brother Lewis has been unfortunately unable to get on a motorcycle again, but hopefully Lewis will be back up and running in 2025. But certainly his older brother Liston is doing very well in this race as he comes up against some of the back markers. Liston just coming up to pass there at number 310, that's Scott Remington on his quite nice BSA Gold Star from 1959. So it's still currently Lewis Bell who leads Andy Hinchcliffe in second position. There's your third place man on the track, number 264, Chris Chell. Number 118 just ahead of Chris is Kenny Harper on his CZ Twin Porter. And on the subject of CZ Twin Porters, there's another one there, number 380, that's Jeff Taylor on his 360 CZ from 1965. And so the front runners have already crossed the finish line to end this race. So it's a win for number 98, Liston Bell. Second is Andy Hinchcliffe. Third is Chris Chell, as we take another look there at number 41, John Sinnott. Just coming down the hill into view there, number 457, that's Mickey Allen, who's also riding a lovely 600 BSA. So that's the last and final race for the vintage classes, which of course brings us on to race 20, and this is the third and final race for the combined Twinshock 125s, and this is both the A and B classes. Another excellent lineup of little 125 two-strokers. So we're just waiting on our race starter, making sure that all the bikes are running and in position. Looks like we're good to go, but just watch that 15-second board getting raised. It goes up now, shortly to become the 5. So a good collection of 125s as they leave the line. So as the riders go into turn 1, would you believe it's that man again, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe. He's already just finished a race, and he's back out again, this time on his little CR125 Honda, and currently running at the front of the pack. So I'm not sure what kind of things that Andy's taking now, but he's certainly had his porridge this morning, because this guy is just like the Energizer Bunny. He just seems to go and not stop. But Andy Hinchcliffe doing very well there in first position. Second is number 91, that's Neil Brooks, so he's also started quite well. Number 94, Charlie Johnson's also made a good start as they continue round on lap 1. So there have certainly been quite a few riders who have been outstanding at this Helsington race event this year, and Andy Hinchcliffe has certainly been one of them. As we take a look at our second placed position rider, it's number 91, Neil Brooks, on his 1979 CR125 Honda, and currently I think in third position as they make their way down the hill. I think that's number 177. That could be Aaron Rowe in third place. Charlie Johnson just going through there, number 94 in fourth. So there's still quite a few quick riders in this 125 class. Number 30 there, it looks like James Airy is having a few problems with his RM Suzuki, but looks like he's managing to get going once again. But no such problems for this man here at the front, Andy Hinchcliffe, on the CR125 Honda. So Andy going very well on this little 125 Screamer. But I do hope you've enjoyed everything that we've brought you from this year's 2024 Helsington Wulfsport Taylor Trophy Scramble event. As I said, the event has had to be curtailed ever so slightly because of the sticky and slippy track conditions, but I hope you've still enjoyed all of the bikes from the paddock and of course these racing highlights. So it looks like we've got a change of second placed rider. It's now number 177, Aaron Rowe, who's in second position on the Suzuki. Neil Brooks is down to third as we take a look at number 94. That's Charlie Johnson heading up the hill. So Charlie Johnson is currently in fourth spot. So I can see that Charlie has that helmet cam on the top. So it'd be quite good to see some footage from that camera. Number 51 just making his way through. There's Martin Stokes, who's also been quite quick here this afternoon. But many of these 125s, of course, are currently racing in the air-cooled 125 Championship, which is a very popular formula. As we take a look at number 585, that's Steve Dent, one of the Westmoreland Club committee members on his little 125, but it's still Andy Hinchcliffe here, number 224 at the front. So Andy looking very good at this point in the race. It's Andy just coming up to pass number 30 there. That's James Airy, who we just saw previously was having a bit of trouble there with his little Suzuki, but looks like James is up and running once again. Here's your second placed man, number 177, Aaron Rowe, on his 1979 RM 125. So Aaron going very well on his Suzuki. Number 91, Neil Brooks just making his way through. I think he's still currently in third position as they head up the hill. And as I said previously, this racetrack here at Helsington does have a certain amount of history from a way back in the 1960s when it was used for local scramble events, and it's only been in the last 2 or 3 years that the Westmoreland Motor Club have now resurrected this track for this kind of classic racing once again. So it's still this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe, your race leader, looking very comfortable at the front of the pack. It looks like the second placed man, number 177, Aaron Rowe, is still quite a way behind Andy Hinchcliffe, but there's Aaron making his way up the hill. And these little 125 two-strokes may be small in capacity, but they can certainly get around this Helsington racetrack at comparable speeds to the bigger CC machines. Number 94 just going through there is Charlie Johnson again, but it looks like Charlie Johnson's lost a place there. He's just been passed, but still managing to keep that bike upright. Number 77 just going through there is Stephen Goodfellow on his 77 RM Suzuki, and he's being chased there by number 168, that's Richie Hunter. So there's your race leader on his last and final lap of this race, but he's certainly got to be pleased with his performance this afternoon, because Andy Hinchcliffe, as I said, didn't get off to the best of starts in the 125s when he collided with Chris Winder, but Andy's certainly went on to have a very good afternoon here at Helsington. So he's just heading up the hill to take the checkered flag and another well-deserved race win. So we're just looking to pick up our second place man, which was Aaron Rowe, but it looks like Aaron Rowe's been passed for that second place. It's now this man here, number 148, that's Simon Edmonds, who's going to take that second place position, but Aaron Rowe looks like he's still going to take the final podium spot in third. So we're just looking at some of the other 125 riders finishing their race. Number 42 is Alan Thomas. Number 131 there is Steve Holloway on the CR125 Honda. But that was the last of the 125 races for the day, which of course brings us on to race 21, and this will be the final race for the Twinshock 250 class. Another still good lineup of 250 bikes as they leave the line and head into turn number one. Looks like it could be number 41. I think that's Lee Payne once again who's taken the early lead. So Lee Payne is another one of the riders that's had quite a good day here at Helsington as he heads up the hill. Ryan Ireland looks like he's moving up into second position. So as they continue on lap one, it's still number 41, Lee Payne, who leads this man here, number 43, Ryan Ireland. That particular part of the track is still very bumpy, quite a few holes in that corner as well, so that's a tricky part of the track to negotiate. Looks like we've got a rider down and receiving some treatment from the medical staff. So it's still number 41, Lee Payne, your race leader. Second, it should be number 43, Ryan Ireland. And currently in third position, I think it's now number 21. That should be Neil Jones there on your right. So Neil Jones is moved up into third position. A couple of riders having a bit of a coming together there. But you can see the condition of the track. It's not dried at all because it was quite a dull and damp day, and there was still enough light rain in the air to keep the track wet. But nevertheless, these guys are still going around at a good rate of knots. 43 again is Ryan Ireland in second position. There's your third place man, number 21, that's Neil Jones. As we take a look at some of the other riders, number 116 there is Trevor Dodgson, and you can see that there's quite a good selection of the CR250 Honda Red Rockets in this 250 class, but it's still Lee Payne there, number 41, your race leader, as he heads up the hill to complete another lap. As we pick up again our third placed rider, number 21, Neil Jones. Looks like Neil's been challenged there by number 40 on the inside. That's Dan Edgar. So it looks like Dan Edgar is now your new third placed position rider. As we are back with our race pole position man. That's of course Lee Payne. Looks like Lee Payne's opened up quite a good gap to our second place man, which was Ryan Ireland, but I don't see Ryan Ireland close behind Lee Payne. There's your third placed man, number 40 Dan Edgar. Neil Jones going through there in fourth, and number 72 just going through is George Dodgson. It looks like number 26 is parked trackside. That's Paul Pattinson. Looks like he's got some kind of issue with his Arian Suzuki. So here we have number 40 again, Dan Edgar. I think Dan's currently in third position, just behind Ryan Ireland. Number 72 just going through again is of course George Dodgson, another one of these Honda 250 riders. But this has been quite a good afternoon for this man here, number 41 Lee Payne. He's had quite a good day with regards race wins here at Helsington, so looking very comfortable at the front of the pack at this stage. But despite the tricky track conditions, we've still had almost 200 entries for this Helsington race event this year, so it's a very healthy entry for one of these classic scrambles. There's your second place man heading up towards the finish line. That's number 43 Ryan Ireland, and this man here is in third position, number 40 Dan Edgar, who not surprisingly is another one of the riders that's riding one of these CR250 Honda red rockets. And when these bikes were introduced into the UK in the late 1970s, almost everybody just couldn't wait to get their hands on one, and people that had Voltacos and Ossos and Lycos were trading them in or selling them so they could buy one of these red rockets. Number 78 just heading up the hill there, that's young Alex Martin. So we're back with our race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag on his last lap. So this has been another normal day at the office for this man here, number 41 Lee Payne. So another good ride by Lee on the red rocket. So as Lee Payne takes the checkered flag, there's your second place man heading up the hill. So it's going to be a second place finish for number 43 Ryan Ireland, and this guy here is going to take that last podium position. So it's number 40 Dan Edgar who's going to finish in third position. He's just coming down the hill to pass at number 36 there. That's one of the lady riders in this 250 class. That's Jessica Mason on her 250 Michael. And also just coming through there is number 72, that's George Dodgson. Now there's the casualty that we had a look at earlier on in this race. It looks like he's walking a bit gingerly, but he's certainly upright, so I expect he's good enough to live to ride another day. So that brings us on to race number 22, and this is the last race for the Twinshock Open aged 60 plus, and you can see that when we get to this point in the day there are fewer riders lining up at the start line, which is mainly due to the very hard going conditions on the track throughout the day, when either riders have had enough or their bikes have had some kind of problems. But there's certainly enough to make a good race of it, so the 15-second board is up. We're onto the 5, and the riders leave the line, and it's a storming start there from number 240. That's John Idden on the YZ 490 Yamaha. And John had a good start and a good result in the last 60 plus Twinshock race, so he's off to a stormer in this one. It looks like it's Neil Eastwood there in second position. Alan Bott is currently in third, number 74. So as they head to the open countryside, it's still number 240, John Idden on the YZ 490 Yamaha, who leads number 33. That's Neil Eastwood. Currently, I think that's Dave Salkeld, who's now past Neil Eastwood. So Dave Salkeld looks like he's moved up into second position. So these two had quite a good race in the previous 60 plus Twinshock class. So it's still John Idden who leads number 33, Neil Eastwood. Dave Salkeld is in third position at number 74. Alan Bott is currently in fourth. So here's John Idden coming round to complete lap 1. Still Neil Eastwood there on the left in second position. Alan Bott looks like he's moved up into third position. Dave Salkeld is now fourth as we take a look at number 21. That's Paul Chiappa just making his way through on the big Michael. But it looks like we've got a good scrap going on here for that second placed position. It looks like it's Alan Bott who's moved up into second place. So there's your man out in front, number 240, John Idden. So John at this point appears to have a decent gap between himself and second place man Alan Bott. But these YZ 490s, as well you know, were quite fast bikes back in their day, and still are in fact, but John Idden certainly making the most of the power of that two-stroke 490 Yamaha motor. It looks like Dave Salkeld has now moved up into second position. Alan Bott currently in third. Neil Eastwood just coming through there in fourth. So we take another look at number 21. That's Paul Chiappa on his 490 Michael. So we're back with our race leader again, number 240, John Idden on what I think is a 1982 Yamaha YZ 490, but of course back in 1982 that bike would have had a monoshock single rear suspension unit at the back, but currently now has been converted for use as a twin shocker. So John Idden looking very comfortable here at the front. I think it's still Dave Salkeld who's your second placed position rider. So that's John Idden just going through. There's Dave Salkeld coming through in second position. Dave's another rider that's had a very good afternoon here at Helsington. So Dave Salkeld looking quite comfortable there in second position as he comes down the hill and ready to start another racing lap. So Dave Salkeld going well there in second position. Now there's something you don't see every day. That's Alan Bott, who appears to have dropped his bike, but you can see it's not just the lesser experienced riders that are having difficulties getting around this track. A few of the top racers have also had their fair share of these tricky conditions. So that was your race leader just passing there, number 240, John Idden, and there's your second place man, number 2, Dave Salkeld. But of course, if these are the kind of bikes and racing that you like to look at here on YouTube, then maybe you'll consider subscribing to Classic Dirt Bike TV, because if you do that very small thing, then you'll be notified immediately every time I upload a new video. And of course, Classic Dirt Bike TV is absolutely advert free, and it costs you absolutely nothing to subscribe. So we're back with our race leader as he heads up the hill to start his last and final lap of this race. It's number 240, John Idden, who's basically led this race from the drop of the start gate. There's your second place man just crossing the line, Dave Salkeld, number 2, and it's this man here, number 33, Neil Eastwood, who is currently in third position. But you can see that even although these guys here are over 60 years old, you can see that they've not lost any of the speed that they may have had in their youth. So well done to these guys. But it's still John Idden, your race leader, from number 2, Dave Salkeld. And you can see that Dave is absolutely hammering that 4 Team Michael around this racetrack, but as I said previously, he's had a very good afternoon here at this historic Helsington racetrack. So here's your race leader heading towards the checkered flag, and I think it's going to be another win for John Idden on the 490 Yamaha Twinshocker. So another good performance by this very talented rider, John Idden. Second position should still be that man there, number 2, Dave Salkeld. So Dave's going to cross the line in a well-earned second place position. It looks like this is going to be our third placed rider. It's still going to be Neil Eastwood, number 33. So that's been another good performance here by Neil on the 490 Mega 2 Michael. It looks like we've got another rider who's just dropped the machine. That's Gary Morley, number 185, and Gary was going quite well in the early stages of this race. So that's the final race for the 60 plus class. So that brings us quite nicely onto the penultimate race of the day. This is race 23 for the Twinshock Open, aged 45 and over. So as the riders leave the line, it looks like a good start by, that's number 3 there, Willie Burgess on the Maygo Michael. So it is Willie Burgess, number 3, who's made a good start from the front of the gate. Second position looks like that could be Mark Kenny at number 21. So he's your race leader as they come into the wooded section, a very rough part of the track, this bit here through the woods. It looks like Jonathan Bethel is now in second position. So as they come down from the hill, it's number 3, Willie Burgess, your race leader. Second is Jonathan Bethel, number 46, on the big 4-stroke Husqvarna. Mark Kenny is currently in third on the CR 500 Honda. So it's this man here, number 3, Willie Burgess, who has the early lead on lap 1. It looks like Mark Kenny has now moved up into second position. So this has been a good start here by Willie Burgess. Mark Kenny should be coming through there in second place, number 21, on the Twinshock CR500 Honda 2-stroke machine. So here's your race leader coming down the hill to start lap 2. It's number 3, Willie Burgess, on the big 490 Maygo Michael. Mark Kenny just going through there in second position on the CR500, and it's Jonathan Bethel there, number 46, on the 4-stroke Husqvarna. But this is a rough part of the track as well, this bit here, with lots of bomb holes and ruts in that part of the track. But Willie Burgess still your race leader at the front, being chased by number 21, Mark Kenny. Now Willie, I think, didn't fare too well in the previous 45 plus Twinshock race, but he's certainly making up for it in this penultimate race of the day. Currently in first position, being chased by that man there, number 21 or 121, Mark Kenny, and that's another one of those hybrid Twinshock conversion 500 Hondas. As we take a look at number 25, that's Craig Smith from my hometown of Dunfermline. But it looks like Jonathan Bethel has dropped his big Husqvarna. That'll be a heavy bike to pick up with all that mud on it, but no such problems for this man here at the front. It's number 3, Willie Burgess, and Mark Kenny certainly appears to be closing in on Willie Burgess. And Mark's another rider who's ridden quite well here this afternoon in these tricky track conditions, but as I said, that's another one of those Twinshock conversion bikes that Mark is riding. That would have originally been a monoshock rear end on that bike, but as I said, it's quite a popular conversion to change these monoshock bikes to twin shockers. But there's your race leader coming round to start another racing lap. It's number 3, Willie Burgess on that Maygo Michael. I'm not sure why it's called a Maygo Michael. I think it means that it may go, or then again it may not. Number 368 just going past there on the blue Michael was Andy Farr. As we take a look at number 25 again, Craig Smith. So it's still Willie Burgess out in front. It doesn't look like Mark Kenny's closing in enough to make a pass on Willie. In fact, it looks like Mark is maybe just going to settle for that second place position, but Willie Burgess still going well here at the front of the pack. But this has been quite a difficult day for all of the riders here at Helsington this year. Of course, we can't control the weather, but well done to each and every rider who took part and got through the day's racing, because it's been a very difficult afternoon. And hopefully, if I do get invited back in 2025, the weather conditions will be slightly better. So here's the rest of the chasing pack behind Mark Kenny. Getting quite difficult to read the riders' numbers now, but that's Andy Farr just going through there again, number 368 on the blue Michael. So it's still number 3, Willie Burgess, your race leader, and it looks like Willie's got an even bigger gap between himself and second place man now, Mark Kenny. So Willie could basically cruise to the finish line with the lead that he has over number 121, Mark Kenny. But you certainly have to give credit to the West Moreland Motor Club committee members for all of their hard work during this Helsington Scramble this year, because it does take a bit of time and effort to put in all the infrastructure and building fences and putting the track up. So again, a very well done to everybody at the West Moreland Motor Club. So there's your race leader heading towards the checkered flag. It's going to be one of the easiest wins that Willie Burgess has ever had in some time, and it's going to be this man here at number 21, Mark Kenny, who's going to cross the line in second position. So Mark's also had quite a good day here at Helsington. So just picking up some of the other riders as they make their way towards the checkered flag. Number 55 there is Keith Barnes on that lovely Alan Clues CCM bike. That's a bike that Keith built himself, and it's an absolutely beautiful looking machine when it's not covered in motocross mud. So he's had another decent day here at Helsington, number 55, Keith Barnes. So that was the conclusion of the Twinshock 45 plus class. So So that eventually brings us on to race 24, and this of course is the final race of the day, and this is the Twinshock Open aged under 45s and also including the pre-1978 class. So it looks like we're just about good to go. The starters getting into position. The 15-second board is up, which now turns into 5, and as the riders leave the line, we'll try and pick up our front runners. It looks like Jamie Law has taken the early lead, number 25. And it also looks like Albert Martindale's made quite a good start there on the Michael, but as the riders come towards us is number 25, Jamie Law, who's your early race leader. Number 41 in second position, that is of course Lee Payne, who's now back out on his 250 YZ Yamaha. There's Albert Martindale just going through there. It looks like Brad O'Leary's made a decent start in fourth position. As you can see, at this point I had to run for a bit of cover because I thought Carol Hodgson was going to run straight into me, but fortunately for me and Carol, that particular accident didn't happen. So we're looking at the battle for second place position. It looks like Albert Martindale has got the early advantage coming down the hill. Brad O'Leary looks like he's going to try and make some kind of move as they go down. That's a really tricky part of the track, that at the bottom, but it looks like Brad O'Leary has managed to hold on to that third place position. There's Ryan Ireland. He appears to have dropped his machine into the corner. So as the riders begin lap 2, it's still this man here, number 25, Jamie Law, riding that Monda machine. As I said before, that's a Michael chassis that's been surgically altered to take the big CR500 Honda two-stroke motor, but as you can see, a super quick machine, that bike of Jamie Law. So Jamie looking quite good at this point. Second place position looks like it's still Lee Payne on the YZ 250 Yamaha. It's one of your tail enders just going through. There's Lee Payne there on the 250 YZ in second position. So Lee doing very well there on that much smaller two-stroke machine. So as a race leader, Jamie Law comes round to complete another lap. It's still Lee Payne there, number 14 in second position. Looks like Brad O'Leary is now moved up to third, so this is a better outing for Brad from the previous race when he had quite a few misdemeanors on the track, but no such problems for Jamie Law here, number 25, going very well on that big 500 Monda. And you can see the track at this point very bumpy as we get near the end of the day, but I must say that suspension on that Jamie Law bike appears to be coping with most of the bumps, so Jamie Law looking very good at this point. It's still Lee Payne in second position. But I do hope you've enjoyed all of the bikes and the racing from this year's Helsington race event. There's your second place man, Lee Payne, on the 250 YZ Yamaha. Third place now is still Brad O'Leary on the Wulfsport Mega Micro. So Brad doing very well there in third position. So we'll just try and pick up another few of the riders in the pack. That's number 28 there, I think. That could be Stephen Coulson on the 490 Michael. So it's still number 25, Jamie Law, on his last and final lap of this race, so he's looking very comfortable for the race win as he just passes number 661 there. That's Carol Hodgson on his Michael. So this has been a cracking performance here by this very talented rider. So as he just makes one or two turns towards the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be a win for that man there at number 25, Jamie Law. But take nothing away from this man here, number 41. It's Lee Payne, and he's going across the line in second position, riding his YZ 250 Yamaha. And to take the final podium position, it's going to be that man there in the blue. That's number 2, Brad O'Leary. And just coming into shot now is number 71. That's Brian Atkinson on his little CR250 Honda Elsinore. Number 17 is Mike van der Merwe on his 370 Suzuki. Number 217 is Peter Maxwell, and he's riding his 1976 Maiko. So that just about concludes all of the racing highlights from this year's 2024 Helsington Wulfsport Taylor Trophy Scramble. So I do hope that you've enjoyed all of the bikes that we've brought you this year, and of course all of these racing highlights. And hopefully, if I do get invited, I will certainly return in 2025. Well, there you have it. That just about concludes everything that went down for this year's 2024 Helsington Classic Scramble. And of course, before we go, we'd just like to give a very special mention to Wulfsport, who were of course sponsoring this event. So again, thanks to Bill Brown and Marion and Ellie for helping out with sponsorship for this event. But of course, Classic Dirt Bike TV will be back with more old school race bikes and classic racing. So as I said, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, then maybe you will do that very small thing. That way you won't miss out on any future videos that I post on my channel. But from everybody here at the 2024 Helsington Classic Scramble, it's goodbye for now.